Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Ever After Paper Crafts, and today I wanted to share with you how I made this card here using a beautiful new peony stamp set from the Ton Stamps. It's actually not brand new, but not their most current release, but I believe the one before that. So I wanted to share with you how I made this flower as well as the background. And this is the stamp set, and again, it's from the Ton, and it's called Large Peony 2. It has this lovely peony flower here, a little leaf, and then 3 lovely sentiments, and then coordinating dies that you can purchase separately if you want to. So I think the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is our background, so we can let that dry, and then we'll color up the peony. So let's go ahead and get started. This might be a slightly lengthy video, so I want to go ahead and get started. The first thing that I'm going to do is grab some scratch paper for our pardon me, ink blending. Now I have a piece of cardstock here, and it's 4.5 by 5.25. I'm sorry, 5.5 by 4.25. So it's just a standard A2 size front that will cover completely the front side of a card. I also have 2 colors of distress ink. I have Spun Sugar, which is just a regular distress, and Distress Oxide Worn Lipstick. You can mix oxides and regular distress inks just fine, which is what I'm going to do today, simply because I don't have the worn lipstick in the regular distress inks, but it's no problem to mix them at all, as you'll see here in a moment. So I'm going to start with the Spun Sugar, and I'm basically going to cover virtually the entire panel here with this light pink ink. So let me just quickly get a good coating down here. And this is a very, very light ink, so it might not even show up super well on camera, but in person you can definitely see a very nice light shade of pink. It just takes a little while because it is so light to kind of get it around all the paper here. So it's going to take me just a moment here to get this all nice and blended, so you don't see the splotchy blobs of ink, and also so it will show up a little bit. So I like to go back and coat it a few times because it is such a light ink, to get it nice and covered. So we'll just go around here just a couple more times, and then I'll pull it up to the camera so you can see that it does actually have a nice light shade of pink to it. So hopefully you can see that there. So for now I'm done with that color, and I'm now going to take up the distress ink, which is Worn Lipstick, and I'm just going to do kind of like one side a little bit, just to give it some added dimension. So just a little bit on a side here. Not really worried too much about where I'm putting it. I just want to put a little bit here and there, and a little bit up here, and there's no magic to this. I'm just kind of randomly placing that harsher ink. Then I'm going to come back in with the Spun Sugar and just blend it again in with that Worn Lipstick. So you're going to have shading of light and pink, light pink and darker pink on this panel. It's going to look really nice when we're all finished here. I never follow my own rules. I always say use a piece of cardstock to hold your paper for you, otherwise you will get your fingerprints in it, and I never seem to have one available when I come and do my videos. So that is definitely something I'm going to try to fix in the future, because it really does help. Your fingerprints will definitely react to this ink and will show up in the ink on this Bristol Smooth cardstock. Which, if I didn't mention before, this is Bristol Smooth cardstock, which is my favorite cardstock for inking up the distress inks and blending them. So now we're all finished with the blending. I'm just capping my inks here and taking off the little blender pen so they don't, or blender pads, so they don't roll around and get our surface all muddy. So here you can see I just have some nice light shading. I'm going to take my distress sprayer and just squirt just a little bit of water on. And I'm doing the halfway down technique so that droplets will come out. And I'm going to take paper towel now and simply blot this down. And it has a really pretty distress look to it. Hopefully you can see that. It's really, really pretty. And now the last little touch that I'm going to do on this panel is I'm going to take some of these, and I'll show you the packaging that they come in. It's Gansai Tambi's Starry Color ink palette here, and these are very pigmented paints. And I have a little very cheap water paintbrush rather in a cup of water here. You have to get the paints very wet so that pigment gets to moving, so your paint will get to moving. And I am using yellow gold, and I'm just going to flick a little bit of this onto our panel here, just a little bit. Nothing too fancy. Okay, and now we're done. Now, this is such a cheap paintbrush that it actually left a hair. Let me see if I can get that hair off of here. Yep, I can. Great. Okay, so the paintbrush shed. So you can really use cheap paintbrushes, but sometimes that happens. So now we're just going to set this aside to dry. So that's kind of what that panel is going to look like, and we're going to set it to dry. And I will bring back over the finished card really quick so you can see some of those glistening gold droplets that are splattered around the background there. Really pretty touch, I think. Okay, so now let me just move the scratch paper aside here and set our watercolors on my other table so they are out of the way. And now we're going to go ahead and color our peony. Now, I already went ahead and embossed it. And I didn't just use plain gold today like I have in a past video. I decided to use Wow metallic gold sparkle embossing powder. So all you would do is you would ink up your stamp with Versamark ink, stamp it down, and then sprinkle over the embossing powder over it, and then hit it with your heat tool. And you get this gorgeous, it just added a little bit of that sparkle there, if you can see that there. It's so pretty, in my opinion. It just really added to this card. So believe it or not, this entire flower plus the leaves, I only used 3 Zig markers. That's it, just 3. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom the camera in just a little bit here so you can see a little bit better the coloring that I'm going to do, and we're going to go ahead and get started. The colors that I used are olive green, light pink, and pink, and that's it. Plus my water brush, of course. So I have my paper towel handy to clean off my brush as I'm going along. And here's my water brush. I just used this yellow Zig one. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So when I color these flowers, I like to start with my dark color first. Anytime I'm doing coloring with the Zigs, I start with my light color first. And then I'll take, if I'm using a second color, sometimes it would be beautiful just to blend that out with your water brush if you wanted to. I just wanted a little bit more depth of color, so I used my light pink to blend some of this darker pink color out on this petal here, as you can see. Now, because I have a lighter color and I'm using it to pull out this darker color, I'm going to scribble off my light pink marker onto my paper towel. So the next time I use that light pink, it will be true light pink and it won't have any of that darker pink on it, on the tip of it. It will not ruin your markers, but so that color does transfer. So you want to make sure and wipe it off on your paper towel. That's why I always have paper towel handy in my craft area for this type of coloring. And then now all I'm doing is I'm taking my water brush and I'm pulling the colors down to fill in the white space. So now we have some really pretty shading there on that petal. So we have dark going into light on that particular petal. So I'm just going to keep doing this around the flower here. I'm going to now next move on to this petal, scribble on, and I'm going to do this really fast, scribble on the dark pink and then the light pink, pulling that color down and blending it out. And I just go slightly into the dark color that I've laid down, just a tiny little bit, not all the way back, just a little bit into it to help pull the color down and blend it into the lighter pink color. And then I do the same thing with my water brush. I go slightly into the mixed color and then pull it out. So now we have this very beautiful blended flower. And sometimes I'll go in, sometimes I'll miss a few spots, especially now when I don't want my head in the frame. So sometimes just let me just go back in and all I'm doing is kind of filling in a couple little white spots that I didn't get the marker all the way to the edge of the petal or something like that. So we're just going to be doing the same technique all the way around with all of these petals. I really didn't want to speed this up on the video because there is a learning curve to these markers, and I hope that I'm starting to really get the hang of it. But I really wanted to show you guys how I use them without speeding it up so you could kind of see in real time what I do. So hopefully that will help you if you want to try these markers out. These markers can be purchased individually, which makes them a very inexpensive way to get them. As I've said on other videos before, if you've been watching my channel for a little while now, you'll see I use these markers on basically every card that I do. And let me just take a break from that train of thought for a moment. I'm just kind of going in and scribbling some of the dark pink down on a bunch of petals at once now, so I can do this a little bit quicker for the purposes of the video. Okay, so now back to that train of thought. I really, really love these markers, and I think you can almost get, even though they're watercolor markers, you can almost get a Copic-like feel to them. And I see gorgeous results in terms of blending when I use these markers, and I'm really pleased with them. And unlike Copics, and I'm not disparaging Copics at all, I have all of my Copic markers and I still use them in my craft room. So please don't think I'm in any way trying to disparage the Copics. I love them. They still have a place in my craft room, and they honestly always will. But what I love about these is I could use just one pink color if I wanted to, which I have done before in other videos. I've just colored a flower with just pink or just light pink and my water brush, and that's it. So in other words, with Copics, to get a nice blended look, you usually have to have at least 3 different numbered markers. And you can really do this technique with these Zigs with just one color if you wanted to. Here, I've colored this entire flower and the leaves with just 3 markers. And since you can buy these markers individually, it's a very inexpensive way to kind of try your hand at them and see if these markers are for you and deserve a place in your craft room. So I do like that affordability aspect of these markers. I think that they're only just a few dollars individually if you purchase them individually. They also do have packs of these, and I personally, they have 80 colors total. I have the whole 80 colors because I'm in love with them. You honestly do not need that many though. You can get away with just a few. You really can. And I do find that even though I have all 80 colors, I do tend to stick with kind of the same ones. So you could really get away with a 48 color pack if you were really interested in the markers, if you loved them and they worked for you. I think you would find that the 48 or the 60 pack would do you just fine. Okay, so now back to the coloring here. Again, I'm just scribbling on some of the darker pink color, which again is just called pink, onto several petals at a time, so I can do this very quickly for the video. And then so I scribble on, and literally scribble on the darker pink, and now I'm coming in with a lighter pink and blending the colors together. And then I'm going to scribble off on my paper towel my light pink to get the darker pink color off the tip of the marker. And now I'm going to use my water brush to fill in and pull the colors up to the white space and get that beautiful, beautiful shading. So this is exactly, and you would finish this flower the same way. I'm going to try to keep going. I don't want this video to be too super long, but I do want to show you guys how I do this. And please don't think I'm saying I'm an expert in these markers or anything like that. Nobody pays me. I'm just doing this for fun and to share my love of crafting with you guys and the techniques that I find work for me. So I'm definitely not saying this is right or wrong or anything like that. This is just how I do it, and I'm really pleased with the results that I've been getting. So I wanted to share them with you guys. So I'm just now pulling the darker color out with the lighter marker here. And like I said, I'm now doing a bunch at a time, so it's not going to be, perfect, but it's still, you can still see that even doing this quickly, I'm going to get a beautiful result, as you'll see here in a moment as I finish this flower up. Even doing this very quickly with the camera over top my head, it's amazing what these markers can do, and it really doesn't take, in my opinion, any incredible talent. You're really just working with the gorgeous stamp and putting a little bit of the color on from the markers, and you just get this incredible, gorgeous final project, I think. So we're almost done here. If you see me kind of going back into the other flowers, petals that I'm not, kind of working on at the moment, and I'm going back, again, I'm just filling in some white spaces that I didn't catch before, given the position of the paper and where my head has to be for the camera. So that's all I'm doing. If you see that. So again, just pulling the colors together to blend them out. And then we'll take our water brush and kind of blend all of this together. And again, I'm doing this side now super, super fast. I'm not even putting some color on some of the smaller petals. So as you can see, the color will go into your water brush, and sometimes you can get another smaller petal done just with a little bit of color that's left on your water brush, which also kind of makes this a fast going technique. Now, because I've been going so fast, so there's the finished, let me just finish my train of thought first. There's the finished flower. Very quickly done, but in my opinion, quite lovely. I mean, I think it's card worthy for sure. I'm going in a little bit, filling in some of the spaces that I didn't get all the way to the edge of the petal. And now, because I was going so quickly, I did get out of the lines just a little tiny bit. Here is a tip. Clean your water brush off on your paper towel, which all you do is scribble it off. You can see the scribbles here on my paper towel. I'm just scribbling the color off till no more color is shown. And you take the clean side, the clean brush, and just push the color that is out of the lines away, and it will disappear completely. And then you dab it with a paper towel. And you do that a couple times, and you will find that you no longer have any of the color going out of the lines. It's kind of like if you're familiar with Copic markers, we had that zero colorless blender that we use. This kind of is the same idea. You just push the color back towards the line. In my case, these are the the embossed lines of the stamp, and that color that is now out of the lines will disappear. So now I'm just going to take my water brush and just kind of push some of this color all the way out to the edges of some of these petals that I missed here. So it's all nice and filled in. And I think that that's lovely. So there's the finished flower. And now let's quickly do the leaves. And I used one color for the leaves. I just used olive green, as I stated before. And to color the leaves, I just put a little bit of color down here at the bottom and then on each side of the middle of the leaf where it's usually darkest. And then I take my water brush. Again, you're going to a new color, so make sure that you clean that water brush off on your paper towel, and then just pull the color into the white space to pull it out and give it that nice blended shaded look. And I really love this green color for leaves. It's sort of a perfect color. So the regular green is great for grass or summery trees, but I was going for kind of a more formal, I guess you could say, palette with this gorgeous flower here. So I just went a little bit darker with my leaves here, and I think it's a really pretty match to the pink peony and the gold sparkly embossing powder. So I'm just finishing the other leaf here, and as you can see, in this short amount of time, we have our image completely colored, which is awesome. So now we're just going to put our cap on our markers here and the water brush, and here are our finished leaves and our finished flower. The next step that I did, and I'm not going to do it now because you really want to wait till this is dry, or at least drier, but I went over everything with my Wink of Stella brush, and all you do is literally just scribble over all of the petals and the leaves to give it just a little sparkle and shine. So I went ahead and did that before coming on camera with another one that I colored. And I used the same colors on this one, and then I used the coordinating dies that you can purchase separately that match the stamp set to cut them out. So here is my flower, and then I also colored the two leaves here. So now we are ready to go ahead and finish putting our card together. Here's the base that we had here. So all we would do, and this is still wet, so I'm not going to actually finish it right now for you on camera because the gold splatters that we put on this background panel are still wet. But all we would do, I've already put foam tape. I doubled the foam tape on the flower. So what I did for the final card is I just put one layer of foam tape on the leaves, stuck them where I wanted them in the bottom left corner here, and then put the peony on top with the double foam. And of course, before you do all of that, you're going to want to put your sentiment down. I chose, let me just bring the finished product over. I chose Thinking of You, which comes from the stamp set. I embossed it in the same gold embossing powder, the Wow embossing powder that I used for the peony. And then I stuck my my flower and my leaves down onto the bottom right corner of the card, and then I put everything onto a note card that measures 5.5 by 4.25. And then for some finishing touches, I added some sequins. The sequins are from Pretty Pink Posh, and that's about it, guys. So I hope that you enjoyed this card. And again, this is just something so simple to do, and look how gorgeous that is. And I give all credit to the stamp creators from the ton. This is absolutely a gorgeous image. But I'm hoping that the beautiful sparkle is showing up both from the Wink of Stella pen as well as the sparkly gold embossing powder that we used. So I hope that you enjoyed this card and this process today, and that you will give the Zig markers and the ink blending for the background a try. So thank you so much as always for watching, and have a great day. Catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.